Okay, good morning, everybody. Welcome to Monday, November 4th. I'm John Weigell here with Martina Bretous, and this is the Hustle Daily Show. Apple Intelligence is officially here in the United States. Meta has entered the super competitive AI search market, and AI wearables continue to decline, sadly. Today, we're hoping to round up the biggest AI news from October and more with the return of Martina Bretous, the editor of Hubspot's Next in AI. We'll get to all that in a bit, but first, let's give you the news. Okay, first up. So finding a partner on dating apps is already pretty hard, but finding a like-minded business partner, that's even tougher. Luckily, though, there's a new app called Coffee Space that wants to help you with that. The app matches people who want to find their business soulmate and startup co-founder, and it's kind of adorable. Next up, so long for now to Intel. Nvidia is officially set to replace Intel on the Dow Jones Industrial Average as the new hot semiconductor company in town. Intel has held its Dow Jones spot since 1999, but no longer. From there, another big update, big money update, this one from Berkshire Hathaway. Their money pile grew to $325.2 billion in Q3, which is a new record for them. One of the big changes there, they once again cut their holdings in Apple this past year. From there, we go to Japan. Japan is actually recovering quite well, it seems. They're on a spending spree. In Q2 of 2024, Moët Hennessy Louis Vuitton, or LVMH, sales in Japan were up 57%, which is higher than all other markets. And Kering, the owner of Gucci, also saw a 27% increase in the country. People buying luxury goods left and right over there. And finally, the rent is just too damn high everywhere. Of course, a recent report by Redfin found that median rent in the US is now $1,634. So where are Americans moving to for some lower rent? I'll give you the top 3 cities Americans are moving to at the bottom of the 9th of the pod after we talk some AI. And speaking of... Remember how marketing used to be? Content was simpler to create, leads were easier to capture, and we weren't all spread so thin. Bottom line, marketing used to be fun. But with HubSpot's newly launched marketing and content hubs, you'll generate better content, more leads, and next-level results so marketing can be fun again. With tools like Content Remix to turn existing assets into all new pieces in just a click, lead scoring to shine a light on the leads most likely to purchase, and Analytics Suite to tackle out-of-the-box reports and KPIs with a goldmine of AI-powered insights. It's quick to get you results. It's easy to use. It connects all your teams and data. So put the fun back in your marketing funnel with HubSpot. Visit HubSpot.com to get started for free. Okay, so it's the first Monday of the month, and we're, of course, back with Martina for another AI update. Welcome back, Martina. Great to have you again.
Thank you, John. It's a pleasure every time.
Yes, every month it is a pleasure. So last month, I remember you were really excited about Notebook LM. I did some more digging into it over the past month, and it's pretty impressive. Have there been any updates with that platform where you can kind of create podcasts out of really anything?
Yeah, it's pretty cool. So they have 2 new interesting updates. One of them is now you can have audio prompts. So before you could just generate the podcast and what you got was what you got. Now you can actually customize the output if you want something specific that you're looking for and add instructions. So it's pretty cool. The second thing is that Notebook LM is coming out with a business version. There are no specifics right now. It's going to be available later this year, but I think that's going to be great for businesses who are really looking to leverage this platform. So yeah, really cool updates.
Wow, that's super cool. I was thinking this past month, I was just kind of racking my brain about AI tools and what AI tools could possibly help people that are in marketing or content creators. And Notebook LM seems to stand out as something that could help. But how, in your perspective, could professionals more use this platform? Because when I think of it, I'm just like, oh yeah, just make a podcast about anything. But I guess practically, how would you go about using this in that context?
Yeah, I think there's so much you can do with it. You can generate new ideas. You can create new content. You can repurpose the content that you have. So I'm thinking of a content creator, say you're kind of stuck for ideas. You've been publishing to YouTube for months. You have a lot of content, or maybe you have a YouTube channel as well as a blog, and now you're kind of stuck and you don't know where to go. You could input all of that, including links to your YouTube videos, into your Notebook LM page, create a project. There's a little chat at the bottom, and then ask it, hey, help me identify some content gaps. What are some new things that I can cover? What are some new angles that I can take this topic on? So you could use it as a bank for all of the content that you've ever created, and then use it as a way to generate new ideas. And it can give you ideas for how to repurpose content. Maybe you had a YouTube video, but maybe you can turn that into a script for a podcast.
Oh, yeah.
So the possibilities really are endless there.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. I also like the new ideas are very welcome. I just want to take a second to let everybody know that we are not sponsored in any way.
We're
This
not.
is just genuine interest at work.
I know.
I was just very, very fascinated about this platform.
Same.
But to get to some other AI tools, have you been using anything else this past month that you would also deem quite helpful or particularly interesting?
Yeah, so this one is for my video editors. So Adobe released Firefly, which is their new AI video model, and they're releasing it across products, including Premiere Pro. They have like a beta version going right now.
Ooh, nice.
And it looks pretty cool. So the first thing is that you can extend footage by 2 seconds.
Whoa.
And I know 2 seconds sounds like nothing, but that can really make the difference between throwing out footage or having to retake or reshoot something.
Yeah.
So those 2 seconds can actually make a big difference.
For sure.
The next thing is that you can extend sound effects and like room tone by 10 seconds. I've edited many a video, and as an editor, like you're playing around, you're moving stuff around so much. Sometimes it's like so unrecognizable from what you started with. And I think that having AI generation help your work, support the work that you're doing and enhance it is really interesting. The next thing you can do is generate video from still images.
Wow.
That's the one that I'm most excited about, and obviously the one that's potentially the most powerful. Also potentially the one that has the most room for error. But Adobe's out here releasing a lot of AI features that seem pretty cool. So we'll see how long it's going to stay in beta for, but they have some cool things going on.
That's pretty awesome. As somebody who edits video pretty regularly as well, I can completely understand. There's nothing more frustrating than extending a clip and then not being able to extend it just a little more to meet like a B-roll requirement or something. So that extra 2 seconds could save a lot. And also anything to help editing become less of an annoying, tedious task and just let you be creative rather than having to chop things up for 3 hours and then be creative is very welcome. So I'm personally very happy about that.
Like I have definitely sat there when it's light out editing something. And then when I lift my head up, it's completely dark because I've just been focused, zoned in on something, fixing something over and over and over again. So AI is welcome here.
Yeah, for sure. Welcome here. I remember there were a couple platforms that came out even that promised to cut out like the dead air in your clips so it can like truncate them a little more. So I'm really excited to hear about more rollouts like this.
100%.
Yeah. And pivoting to some updates in the industry, right? So Meta has kind of been a big topic of discussion in AI the past few months. Honestly, who could have thunk? But they just announced an AI search engine, and this kind of levels up their competition with Google, of course, but also companies that thrive on this idea of AI search like Perplexity. So how do you see this announcement going? Do you think it's kind of just another cog in the wheel, or do you think they're going to make a breakthrough of some sort?
It's so interesting because I feel like now we're moving in a direction where search engines are just going to be AI powered. It's not going to be this unique competitive advantage that you have that like Perplexity started out with. Perplexity got us going was like, hey, AI could be great for search engines. Then Google caught up with AI overviews. It was a little janky at first, a little rough, but they got there.
Yeah.
And then now you have Meta joining in. And I think what's interesting with Meta is that I think of them for social. Granted, we know that they've been tapping into a lot of different areas with AI wearables and stuff, but I personally am not super fond of Meta's like search functionality when you look at Instagram and WhatsApp. And so seeing them dive into search is really interesting. And I'm curious how they're going to change people's perception and kind of expand it beyond social and some of the areas that we know Meta for, right? Like, am I going to choose to go to Meta for search rather than Google and Perplexity, things that have been more established and that have built a reputation?
Right.
It depends on the user really, but if it's good enough, it definitely will get those users.
This year there's been a lot of rhetoric about is Google being kicked off their pedestal because of these other companies, and also ChatGPT, for example, coming into the fray and being used as a search engine by many. So it is interesting to see what happens in search going forward because, Google's also facing lawsuits for being a monopoly on search.
Aren't they all? Every month we're talking about an AI company that's facing monopoly, antitrust things. It's just, I feel like a part of being in big tech.
Yeah, that's just what you got to do. You got to have the lawsuit. If you don't have a lawsuit, you're not a real big player. You know what I mean?
Exactly. I think somebody put that on a postcard once.
Yeah, as they should.
Yeah.
Of course. Mm-hmm. So moving on, you did mention Meta getting into the wearable game, and they really have kind of exploded with those Ray-Ban glasses that came out a while ago, and this new Orion glasses that are probably going to make quite a splash when they do come out to the public. But in other kind of wearable news, it seems like everywhere else seems to be kind of failing in the wearables.
Yeah.
Humane AI pin, we talked about it a lot earlier this year. It's been very much negatively presented as a very overly expensive, yes, to say the least, piece of gear. They just dropped the price by $200 to total it now at $500. It just doesn't seem great for anything that's outside of a phone, it looks like.
Mm-hmm. It's unfortunate. I am not surprised because it just wasn't a really high quality product, but I am surprised that like AI wearables are not taking off more. Like I expected them to have a comeback, honestly. Mm-hmm. After that initial really bad first couple reviews, I expected them to come back even stronger and they just didn't. It seems like they're flailing.
Yeah.
There's a report that their returns are exceeding their sales.
Woof.
Yeah. And so that's a rough one. So I guess they're serving as a cautionary tale of if it's not ready, don't put it out. Yeah. Because if you're not able to like get rid of that really negative first impression, it's going to be hard for you to get past that.
Yeah, it seems like the public just isn't interested in single-use AI products. Mm-hmm. I'm seeing reports all over the place that these Ray-Ban glasses are nice for other reasons, and they just happen to have AI. And then there's all the phones right now, which I would love to bring up Apple Intelligence, because that finally got its launch this past week. And after a bit of a delay, it seems, at least the reviews are saying, that it's fine. That seems to be...
That's exactly what I'm reading. It's fine. Yeah, I mean, it's all right. I wasn't able to test it personally because you need an iPhone 15 Pro or more recent. Yeah. I'm not part of the cool club
Which
yet.
I do not have either.
Right.
I got a 12 mini and she's hanging on for life.
Exactly.
I tell you.
And Wirecutter said it was mostly unremarkable. Everybody's just having the impression that it's all right. You know, we talked about this last month. If it was going to be worth the wait, it's not really giving that right now because a lot of the features are coming out next year. But I think Apple knew that they had to come out with something. And if they didn't get in the game right now and didn't get people buzzing about what they're coming out with, they were going to kind of lose some of that steam and fall back even further. But what I'm reading from CNET, for example, is saying that the message and notification summaries are by far the most useful, but they're not perfect. I just saw something on Twitter where somebody said their mom sent them a message that said, "That hike almost killed me." And then the response, like the summary from Apple Intelligence was, that person, his mom, attempted suicide, but recovered and hiked in Redlands in Palm Springs. Can you imagine getting that message?
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty crazy.
So it's fair to say it's not perfect. And people are saying it's not doing a great job of nailing sarcasm and understanding. Of course, I'm going to understand inside jokes. So some things are going to be out of context, but people are finding that the summaries are being the most useful for them.
Yeah. But, you know, it's, again, the first iteration on something that I'm sure is going to get updated. As you mentioned before, like the Gemini search thing on Google was super annoying and wrong for a long time. And then now it's kind of useful. I kind of actually like it when it comes up nowadays.
I know.
So things can change. And speaking of things changing, are you looking forward to anything else coming up, you think, in the next month or so?
Well, ChatGPT is hitting its 2-year anniversary in November. So we're expecting OpenAI to release some really cool tools before the end of the year. There was some rumors that they were going to release Orion, which is supposed to be their new flagship model. But Sam Altman, in Sam Altman fashion, the CEO, was like, that's fake news. It's not true. And it probably will be true, like this news about their search engine was true. But for right now, they're saying they're just coming out with some great new tech by the end of the year. And so that'll be exciting to follow.
Yeah, I'm excited to see what they do. Especially on the 2-year anniversary, you got to imagine it'll be something pretty big.
Right.
So we'll keep our eyes out for that.
Yeah.
So thanks so much, Martina. Been great having you on once again this month to give us the updates. We'll see you in December again at the end of the year. Crazy.
Exactly. See you then.
See you then. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thanks again, Martina. All right, we've arrived at the bottom of the ninth of the pod, and here are the top 3 cities Americans are moving to for cheaper rent. Number 3, Las Vegas, Nevada. Number 2, Indianapolis, Indiana. And number 1, Cleveland, Ohio. All cities have a median rent below $1,500. All right, everybody, that's going to do it for us today. Thanks all for tuning into the Hustle Daily Show. We're a proud part of the Hubspot Podcast Network. Our editor today is Robert Hartwig, and our executive producer is Darren Clark. We've got a lot more tech and business coverage in our newsletter. If you're not subscribed, go sign up at thehustle.co/email and throw us a follow at The Hustle Daily on Instagram. We'll see you tomorrow.
If you're struggling to keep up with all the latest innovations in tech and what they'll mean for your life, TED Tech has you covered. Get ahead of the curve with digestible downloads on some of the biggest ideas in technology, from AI and virtual reality to clean tech. Find TED Tech wherever you get your podcasts.
Hey, what's up, everybody? I've been listening to this awesome podcast lately. It's called Hustle and Flowchart, hosted by Joe Fear, and it's brought to you by the HubSpot Podcast Network, the audio destination for business professionals. The Hustle and Flowchart podcast with Joe Fear is all about how to build a business so it gives you the freedom and fuel for your life. You can join Joe as he discusses systems, mindset tweaks, reframes, and strategies for entrepreneurs, and really anyone, to be honest, to enjoy the process of being in business and also having fun. This isn't just for the entrepreneur looking to make $1 billion business, but it's also for somebody who's looking to build systems that work for you so you can make more money than you need just by working part-time, essentially. I was actually just listening to an episode he had on Kareen Walsh behind the app Hey Kareen, and Kareen talked a lot about how to scale your business effectively, especially if you're just a startup, especially if you are just an app startup specifically. It's an awesome episode. I would recommend it to anyone. You could check them out, and you can listen to the Hustle and Flowchart wherever you get your podcasts.